What's up, Maniacs, and welcome to Game Mania, and I hope you feel very nostalgic today. In this episode, we will view the story of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Enjoy! Assassin's Creed Shadows transports players to 16th century Japan, pitting two very different heroes, Naoe, a young Iga shinobi, and Yasuke, an African samurai in Oda Nobunaga's service, against a shadowy conspiracy that could shape history. Set during the Azuchi Momoyama era, the closing years of Japan's Sengoku civil wars, the game's narrative spans Nobunaga's campaigns, the birth of a new assassin brotherhood, and the fate of Japan's legendary imperial regalia. Ubisoft's developers emphasize authenticity. They consulted historians on castles, tea ceremonies, and even tatami layouts to faithfully recreate the period. Unlike earlier titles, Shadows largely forgoes the traditional modern-day storyline. Instead, you experience Naoe and Yasuke's memories directly through a new Animus hub, effectively casting you as the player rather than a separate Animus user. In this documentary style, we'll cover the story from start to finish, spoilers ahead, introduce the key characters and their motivations, highlight major missions and turning points, and explain how Shadows ties into the wider Assassin's Creed mythos. Assassin's Creed Shadows unfolds from 1579 to 1581 during the Azuchi Momoyama era, a period of unification and turmoil under warlords like Oda Nobunaga, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and Tokugawa Ieyasu. Nobunaga is at the height of his power, having just defeated the Takeda clan with gunpowder weapons. The game world spans central Japan, regions like Kyoto, the capital, Osaka, Kobe, and Iga, with accurate castles and cities. This era also saw the arrival of Portuguese traders and Jesuit missionaries bringing firearms, Christianity, and new technologies. These elements feature in the game. For example, Nobunaga's 1581 invasion of the Iga province to crush the local ninja clans is a major catalyst at the outset. Shadows even embraces seasonal change. Snowy winters freeze ponds, altering stealth routes. In short, the setting is a Japan on the brink of unification and cultural upheaval, a rich backdrop for the personal dramas of our protagonists. Shadow's plot is carried by its two playable heroes, whose lives intersect dramatically. Fujibayashi Naoe is a 17-year-old kuninochi, female ninja, from Iga, daughter of the legendary shinobi Nagato Fujibayashi. Naoe is trained from childhood to be her father's equal, and she's described as determined but compassionate, vowing to use her deadly skills to protect her people. Early on, she inherits her father's hidden blade and a mysterious sealed box that Nagato has hidden in a kofun, an ancient burial mound. Naoe's journey will become one of revenge for her clan's destruction and discovery about her family's legacy. The other protagonist is Yasuke, the Black Samurai. Historically the first African samurai, in Shadows he arrives in Japan enslaved and is renamed by Nobunaga. Standing over 2 meters tall, Yasuke impresses Nobunaga and becomes one of his trusted warriors. The developers note he offers a unique perspective. On one hand, wary of Portuguese colonists, on the other, he thrives under Nobunaga's merit-based rule. Yasuke's combat style is straightforward and honorable. He carries a long katana and later acquires polearms and firearms, reflecting his status as a veteran samurai. Early in the game, he clashes with Naoe during Nobunaga's campaign, but as events unfold, he will be forced to question his loyalties and identity. The narrative also involves many historical and fictional figures. Naoe's father, Nagato, and her mother, Tsuyu, who is later revealed to be an assassin, loom over her quest. Mentors like Tomiko, a family friend, and Hattori Hanzo, the legendary ninja leader, appear, as do players from history like Akechi Mitsuhide, Tokugawa Ieyasu, and Ashikaga Yoshiaki. On the Templar side, Portuguese slavers Duarte de Melo and his compatriots, the Kimura family, serve as antagonists. A young orphan, Junjiro, joins the heroes, and together, Naoe and Yasuke ultimately form the Kakushiba Iki, League of the Hidden Blade, intending to rebuild the Japanese assassin order. Shadows opens in 1581. A Jesuit delegation led by Luis Frois seeks Nobunaga's permission to operate freely in Japan. Nobunaga grants it only if their African attendant named Diogo joins his service. Thus, Diogo becomes Yasuke, sworn to Oda, and begins samurai training. Shortly after, Nobunaga turns his army on Iga province to exterminate the ninja, mirroring historical events. Fujibayashi Nagato leads Iga's resistance, sending his daughter Naoe on a secret mission. She must guard a hidden box and wait for instructions. When Nobunaga's forces attack, Naoe recovers the box from her father's burial mound, a kofun, but is ambushed by a masked samurai assassin who wounds her and steals the box. Nagato intervenes but is mortally struck by the same masked men. With his dying breath, he tells Naoe to follow the blade, leaving her devastated and alone. This bloodshed ignites Naoe's path of vengeance. After months of recovery, she returns to the world a hardened warrior, setting out to hunt her father's killers and recover the stolen box. Naoe first travels to Sakai, guided by information from her ally Tomiko. There, she corners and assassinates 2 members of the unknown Shinbakufu, the secret faction behind the raid. Elated with her success, Naoe is then unexpectedly approached by Akechi Mitsuhide, historical warlord and eventual betrayer of Nobunaga. Mitsuhide tells Naoe that Nobunaga himself masterminded the Shinbakufu. He claims Oda plots to seize control through the box and asks Naoe to help kill Nobunaga. Against her better judgment, Naoe is lured into infiltrating the Han-no-ji temple, Nobunaga's Kyoto stronghold, under Mitsuhide's pretense. Inside Han-no-ji, Naoe confronts Nobunaga, who reveals Mitsuhide's lie. He was not part of the Shinbakufu. But before Nobunaga can act further, Mitsuhide's army arrives, as in history, to attack the temple. In the chaos, Nobunaga realizes his defeat is imminent and commits seppuku, ritual suicide. In a poignant moment, Yasuke, who arrived with Nobunaga, holds his dying lord as he falls. Overhearing this, Naoe slips away into the night with her life. This ends the first act. Nobunaga is dead, Mitsuhide's treachery is revealed, and Naoe's original targets, the masked assassins, vanish into the shadows. Meanwhile, Yasuke, now a ronin without a master, faces a future he never chose. With Nobunaga gone, Yasuke approaches Naoe to propose a new alliance. He reveals that during Iga's fall, he killed the Iga Iki leader, Momochi Sandayu, who was wielding a second hidden blade, and entrusted Yasuke to find and aid Naoe. At first, Naoe bluntly rejects him. After all, Yasuke fought alongside her enemies. However, their young comrade Junjiro intervenes. The masked samurai Naoe slew months ago was Junjiro's father. If Naoe can forgive Yasuke for that killing, it was in the chaos of battle, and Yasuke spared Junjiro's life, then perhaps they can be allies. Moved by Junjiro's words and Yasuke's earnestness, Naoe relents and agrees to let him join her mission. Together, Naoe and Yasuke set out to dismantle the Shinbakufu, the cabal that attacked Iga. They strike covertly across Japan, eliminating targets on their killing board and recruiting local allies. 2 notable figures they aid are Tokugawa Ieyasu, Nobunaga's former ally, who now claims nominal power, and Hattori Hanzo, once a fierce Iga ninja lord who had secretly given up his blades. Hanzo guides the pair. He reveals that Naoe's mother, Tsuyu died long ago protecting the box and urges Naoe to seek answers at a burial mound in Setsu province. In Setsu, Naoe discovers an old assassin hideout and Nagato's journal. It contains a startling revelation. Emperor Go-Nara himself entrusted Tsuyu and the ninja of Iga to safeguard Japan's 3 imperial regalia, the sacred mirror, jewel, and sword, fearing rivals. Tsuyu managed to secure one regalia, hidden with Nagato, and then vanished in search of the other 2. Realizing the emperor's intentions, Naoe embraces her destiny to rebuild the assassins in Japan. She, Yasuke, Tomiko, and Junjiro formally found a new order, the Kakushiba Iki, League of the Hidden Blade, vowing to protect the regalia and bring freedom to Japan. Now the path leads to the land east of Kyoto. At the historic Battle of Yamazaki, June 1582, Naoe and Yasuke joined Toyotomi Hideyoshi's army in besieging Akechi Mitsuhide's last stronghold at Shoryuji Castle. The duel on the battlefield is fierce, but Naoe and Yasuke prevail. A mortally wounded Mitsuhide croaks out one final secret before he dies. The true leader of the Shinbakufu was Ashikawa Yoshiaki, the deposed former shogun, whom Naoe had not suspected. Yoshiaki admits he orchestrated the box heist and formed the Shinbakufu with Templar support to regain power. He offers Naoe both the box and crucial intelligence if she spares his life. After the battle, Naoe and Yasuke confront Yoshiaki. Under duress, he discloses that the box Naoe has been protecting is one of 3, each containing one of the imperial regalia of Japan. The other 2 pieces were hidden elsewhere. Yoshiaki also confirms the Templars' involvement. Yasuke's former Portuguese masters, the Kimura family, helped fund and organize the Shinbakufu. The scheming Kimura Kei is currently recruiting new Templars on Kii Peninsula, and another Templar named Duarte de Mello is aiding the colonists. Armed with this knowledge, Naoe and Yasuke split up to pursue separate leads. Naoe heads to Yamato province, hoping to learn her mother's fate. Nagato's earlier stories come to life. Years ago, Tsuyu's assassin group was ambushed by Shinbakufu forces after they stole a regalia. Tsuyu entrusted one regalia to Nagato for safekeeping and went searching for the others. In Yamato, Naoe finds the hidden shrine where Nagato hid the mirror, the first regalia, and quietly slips the box into Nagato's hands via his spirit. At that moment, Hanzo appears with the second box, the gem, which Hanzo had retrieved from the Templars. In a tense exchange, Hanzo admits he once betrayed the assassins out of envy towards Nagato, who had Tsuyu's affection, but he now seeks redemption. Naoe forgives him and welcomes him as a comrade. Together, they plan to find Tsuyu, whom they believe is still alive somewhere.
Meanwhile, Yasuke pursues the Templar threat. He hunts down and kills Kimura Kei and Duarte de Mello, crippling the Portuguese Templar foothold in Japan. Finally, Yasuke confronts Nuno Karo, the Templar who years ago killed Yasuke's mother and sold him into slavery. In a brutal duel, Karo taunts Yasuke for switching loyalties, but Yasuke overcomes him and delivers justice. Standing over Karo's body, Yasuke declares himself no longer just a warrior for hire, but a full member of the Kakushiba Iki. He forsakes his past and openly declares war on the Templars. After Yamazaki, the final pieces of the puzzle emerge in the Claws of Awaji expansion. Hanzo contacts Naoe with a lead, whispers of Tsuyu's presence on Awaji Island. When Naoe arrives, she is stunned to see Tsuyu alive, the mother she thought lost. Tsuyu has been imprisoned for years by Kimura Yukari, Kei's daughter and a cruel Templar leader who tortures her for the location of the last regalia, the sacred sword. Naoe attempts a stealthy rescue but is trapped by Yukari. Sensing danger, Yasuke rushes to Awaji and frees Naoe and Tsuyu in a daring raid, though Tsuyu is wounded in the escape. Safe for a moment, Tsuyu musters what strength she has and tells them where she hid the sword, in an ancient shrine on the island. Before they can retrieve it, however, Yukari's Sengoku Ippa pirate army ambushes them and steals the sword. Realizing he must weaken Yukari's hold on Awaji before confronting her, Naoe and Yasuke systematically dismantle her rule. They assassinate Yukari's 3 powerful lieutenants, the pirate captains Tomeji, Nowaki, and Yasuhira, inspiring the oppressed islanders to rebel. With the people of Awaji uprising, Naoe, Yasuke, and Hanzo launch a final assault on Yukari's stronghold, Iwaya Castle, to force a showdown and reclaim the sword. In the climactic duel at Iwaya, Yasuke faces Yukari. She jeers at him for following Oda and now being led around by a woman's hand, accusing him of lacking his own path. Yasuke answers with steel. He fights through her guards and ultimately kills Yukari, ending her tyranny. Inside the chaos, Naoe rushes to Tsuyu, who is still healing from her ordeal, and escapes the castle with her. As they flee, they find Tsuyu clutching the stolen sword. Together, the trio reunites at dawn. In a heartfelt moment, Tsuyu finally passes the torch to Naoe, as she accepts that her days as a hidden assassin are over and decides to become the mother Naoe never had. Tsuyu turns the sword over to Naoe and Yasuke, confident her daughter will complete the mission. She then bids them farewell and returns to Iga to retire in peace, knowing the new Kakushiba Ikki will carry on. With all 3 imperial regalia now recovered, Naoe and Yasuke pledge to return them to the Emperor, ensuring Japan's future is safe.
Shadows weaves its plot tightly into Assassin's Creed lore, even as it largely downplays direct Isu artifact hunts. Canonically, Emperor Go-Nara tasked Japanese assassins led by Tsuyu to safeguard the imperial regalia, blurring history and myth. These regalia, the mirror, jewel, and sword of imperial legend, serve as the game's MacGuffins. Interestingly, Ubisoft has said Shadows was approached with a more grounded perspective, focusing on the era rather than a classic precursor quest. In practice, the box Naoe seeks may contain an artifact, but the story treats it as a family heirloom rather than explicitly a piece of Eden. The creation of the Kakushiba Ikki is a major connective detail. By game's end, Naoe names the fledgling order Hidden Blade League, formally establishing the Japanese Assassin Brotherhood. This fills a long-standing gap in AC history by giving an origin to ninja assassins and tying them to the Emperor. Yasuke's allegiance shift also expands Assassin versus Templar conflict to new corners of the world. He renounces Nobunaga's chauvinistic world and pledges himself to freedom. On a meta level, Shadows inaugurates the Animus Hub concept, meant to connect current and future games. Developers have hinted that many story threads set up in Shadows should keep happening in other projects and evolve. In other words, plot points or characters like the Japanese assassins, Tsuyu's mission, or even a possible Jade regalia may ripple into upcoming titles. The hub also includes recaps of past games and teaser lore, effectively making Shadows the first chapter in a new shared narrative rather than a standalone tale. For longtime fans, Shadows echoes familiar themes. Naoe's origin, family tragedy, and hidden blade mirrors Ezio's path, while Yasuke's struggle reflects older stories of outsiders seeking belonging. The presence of historical figures like Sen no Ryuku or Luis Frois adds depth, and the expansion into a truly global fight, assassins versus Templars in Japan and involving Europeans, ties into the series' overarching mythos. Notably, Ubisoft's design subtly alludes to a future Assassin's Creed set in China, codenamed Jade, which will likely carry on the Brotherhood story on Asian soil. Assassin's Creed Shadows tells an epic, fully realized story of honor, revenge, and legacy in feudal Japan. From Naoe's bitter quest to avenge her father's death, to Yasuke's redemption and discovery of a new family, the narrative spans key historical events: the assault on Iga, the Honnoji coup, and the Battle of Yamazaki, while folding in the secret war of assassins versus Templars and involving Europeans in Japan ties into the series' overarching mythos. The players see Japan's fate turned. Oda's violent reign ends, Hideyoshi rises, and most importantly, Naoe and Yasuke have rebuilt the Assassin Brotherhood. Shadows thus cements Japanese history into the AC universe, passing the torch, quite literally, to a new generation. Although the credits roll, the story's impact lingers. With the Animus Hub teasing future plot threads, fans can expect the heroes and events of Shadows to influence what comes next in the Assassin's Creed saga. Well, the story has come to the end, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to drop a like to support my work, and let me know in the comment what game you will like to see for the next episode. I wish you a nostalgic week, and thank you for watching Maniacs. Peace.